Hey everybody. You guys want to chop a Model T? Let's chop a Model T. So this is Mike's Model T sedan, and he has asked us to chop his car because it really needs a chop. Most Model Ts, even with a subtle chop, they still need to be chopped. So we're going to do not a super heavy chop, but still a heavy chop. 5 inches is what we're taking out of it. Mike's a pretty tall guy, so that's about as far down. He sat in the car and we started measuring down until he couldn't see. And at 5 inches is where he said, let's do it there. So yeah, follow along as we chop this thing up. We've already done a little bit of prep. We got the windshield frame out. There's never been side windows or a roof insert in this car, so we didn't have to take anything of that out. This car has really nice door gaps. So to try and maintain the door gaps, we've just got a piece of tubing braced across here to kind of hold its shape. Probably don't need too much more bracing on this. Hot rods, they're pretty forgiving. We've gone all the way around the car with some tape and measured 5 inches all the way around everything. So our next step here, I think, is to start cutting. Okay, we're just going to use a simple Makita zip disc here, and we're going to start with the door tops. We'll get the door tops out of the way. I marked all these lines with a pencil just to keep it nice and precise. Sharpies can get a little bit fat sometimes. So yeah, just cut. Keep in mind the thickness of your blade. We're going to cut below the line and above the line so that when these butt up together, it's exactly 5 inches. Okay, you want to hold the door? Not bad. All right, we got both door tops done, so now we're going to actually cut the roof off. Obviously, I mean, this makes sense, but I'm sure some people have not thought of this. Always cut this line first and get this out of the way and then cut that. Don't cut this line first, because then it makes it very weird and awkward and you're gonna hate it. I'm so excited to see this thing low. All right, so just like the doors, when we cut this second post off, our next step is going to be to cut these guys off now. And then we can set it back on and see how out of whack everything is. All right, we're gonna lift it on and see what it looks like. I've never chopped a Model T before, so I don't know how it's gonna line up. But I've chopped a lot of Model A's, and everyone says that Model T's are a lot easier than Model A's. We gotta go. Yeah, we'll start with that. Actually, it looks pretty good. I didn't think it'd be enough, but I dig it. It lines up pretty good. We're gonna start with the window frame here. Get that squared in, give it a tack. From there we can come and we can manipulate this a lot, moving it up and down. So once we get this tacked in, then we can move over and get this lined up, get that tacked, and then kind of get all the crucial points fixed where they need to be. And from there we can kind of manipulate the rest. All right, I went ahead and tacked each side of the windshield frame, the rear window. I got those lined up. I'm not going to worry about any of this right now. I'm going to come over to this corner now and line up this edge, just like that. I know this is a little bit off right now. We're not going to worry about that at all. We're going to start with that, get that corner where we need it to be, and then we can go back and take care of this afterwards. All right, with this corner where we want it to be, and this corner where we want it to be, we can go and address this. So it was kind of just flopping everywhere. So I just pulled it kind of where I needed it to be, and then just use some vice grips and pinch that pinch weld. And as you can see, this is lined up really nice right now. So we're probably gonna weld this. And once these 3 points are situated, the rest of this, let's see how we got a little gap right there. We can move that around and manipulate it and get it lined up again, tack it, and kind of do that all the way around this whole area, and it should turn out pretty good. Once these are where we need them, then we'll go worry about the B pillar and the A pillar. Door frames we'll do last. All right, that's welded on this side, and I did that side as well. So you'll notice I switched to a TIG. There's a couple reasons I did that. One, the TIG weld it stays a lot more malleable, so you can work it a little bit easier. And the other reason I switched to TIG is Mike wants to keep the welds exposed on this. He doesn't want to grind them and smooth them out or anything like that. So I thought if we do it in a TIG weld, it's just a nicer looking weld. So when people walk by, they're all like, ooh, or something like that. So now that we got these 3 corners fixed, we're gonna leave that and move our way, or move forward up to the B pillar and the A pillar. All right, I've moved up to the A pillar here. So basically I just took a piece of angle iron because it's nice and straight, clamped it down there, clamped it up there, and then squeezed it together until we're nice and even, nice and flush. So we're gonna tack that and tack that, then we can pull this clamp off, tack behind the clamp, and move on to that side. Basically do the same thing over there. In the meantime, while I've been doing that, Jim is cutting the windshield frame down, which is incredibly easy. You basically just cut this 5 inches lower and then slide the top back in. All right, we got the driver's side welded up. Now you'll notice that we have a little zigzag here. What we're gonna do to fix that
is we'll just simply do a pie cut here, spread this open, and then it lines up again, and then we can weld that pie cut up. There's also a little bit of a gap this way. It's almost like it's stepped this way because this tapers. So as it comes down, Model A's do that as well. And for that, I just put a weld in there. I don't worry about it. Some people they'll get carried away and pie cut that and spread it out and make them totally flush. I personally don't care because once you close the door, it's fine. You don't even see it. So that's, if you're chopping your car and you want to mess around with that, you certainly can. I personally don't bother. So now we can come along to the B pillar, and it just about works out perfect. So we'll tackle that basically the same as we did that one. We'll just line these corners up and weld them up. A pillars are fully welded, B pillars are welded. So now I'm gonna go back to this area where we left off here. If you see through here, see this gap that we have right here? The reason for that is this top panel has a little bit more material than this bottom panel. So we need that to suck in a little bit. And to do that, we're probably gonna do maybe one pie cut there and one pie cut there, just on the top panel, and that will allow it to shrink a little bit to the same size as this. We're also gonna have to do that right here, and a little bit right here. There's a big dent here, some old damage right there that might be affecting this a little bit too. So we're gonna do that. 1, 2, 3, 4 panels, and then we can weld those up.
All right, I've got this sitting where I want it. I tacked it all the way along, and then I used, just to smooth it out a little bit better, I've got this round face dolly, or hammer, sorry. So I use that from the inside just to kind of, it's basically stretch this area back out to the right shape, basically. It wasn't very far off, but a little bit helped. So now I'm gonna weld these up and probably weld this up, then we'll move on.
I've welded all the way around now. We had to do a pie cut there and a pie cut there to get these guys to be friends. This side was basically the same as that side. And I hammered this all out with that round faced hammer I was showing you. The cool thing with TIG welds is you can kind of like, they call it hammer welding. As you weld, when you still have the heat from the weld in there, you can use a hammer and dolly and hammer it and stretch it back out. So that's what I did to all of this. It looks a little ugly right now because there's all this flaking paint around it, but it actually came out pretty nice. Gonna move on to this part now. We gotta get these lined up and these lined up. So my plan for that is I'm just gonna take a zip disc and make a slice into both of these and squeeze this bottom one over and open the top one up to get this to line up again. When that lines up, this end here, it should line up as well. And then we got our glass channel back. Not that this car has glass, but one day it might have glass. Jim is still working away on the windshield. He's got the windshield frame sitting in there nice, and now he's just putting these guys back in. And that is what allows it to swing open and closed and hold it shut. Okay, if we take the vice grips and squeeze that over, and then give it a little one of those, everything lines up pretty good. Probably tack that next and then start welding it up. Jim's got the windshield all sorted out. Like I mentioned earlier, he took these guys, they used to be up here, dropped them down, and then this little arm here, or little tab, it used to be up here. You just drill the rivets, slid it down, and we'll weld it or rivet it back on there. And that lets the windshield do its thing again.
So I know Mike wanted to leave the welds, but the splices that we did here, they look kind of ugly. So I just grinded them down just to clean it up a little bit. Sorry, Mike. We're ready to move on to the door tops now. So the top gets a little bit weird with this top hinge because the body is kind of, it's got a taper to it. So when you bring that top hinge down, it throws the geometry out and it doesn't move in a straight line anymore. Model A's do the same thing. So the trick that I always do with that, I mean, you could spend thousands of hours re-engineering this to make it work again. I don't think it's necessary with only that much. So what I always do is I just cut it off right here. The reason I cut that off is I'll take these two little hinge parts here and I will put them back in there and put the pin back through. That way when you first glance at it, it looks like the hinge is all stock. However, the hinge isn't actually attached anymore, so that when you open the door and close the door, it still operates smoothly, but still maintains a factory appearance. So that's what we're going to do now. Chop this guy off and then start fitting the door top on there.
I've just set the door top on there, and when you first glance at that hinge, it looks totally stock. Now we can go ahead and start welding this up. It lines up really good here. We're gonna have to split this the same as we did on here. And up front here, got a little bit, it's a little bit too far forward at the top. So what we might do is tack this and then maybe see if we can tweak that post that way and tweak this part that way. It's just got to go just a little bit, like a 1/16 of an inch. I think it'll do it. So we'll squeeze those together, tack that, and then we can weld the door top on.
Okay, both door tops are welded up, just like on these guys back here. I just grinded the welds down, finished it in 80 grit, just to make it nice and smooth. I did that on the inside as well. Oh, I lied. I forgot to do this one. I did it on that door though. So yeah, both door tops are done. The windshield frame's completely done. It's off at the glass shop right now, getting new glass put in. But yeah, the chop is pretty much done. So the next step, if we were to continue on with this, would be to grind all the welds, but Mike wants to leave the welds for now. You can always grind them later if he decides that he doesn't like it. Right now, Jim is cutting the floor out. Whoever originally built this car, they put this like 3-inch riser where the seats go, and there's no need to have it that high. All that's in here is this 4-link bar, so we're just going to go a little bit higher here. That way the seats can sit a lot lower to maintain visibility. The other thing that we're doing for this, not in this video, but maybe in a future video, is we're doing a roof insert. We're going to do a red plexiglass roof insert with some metal flake red vinyl sides on it. Just ordered all the material for that. So hopefully that'll all show up the same time the windshield shows up. And yeah, maybe we'll make a video on that. No guarantees, but we'll, I don't know, we'll wing it. So anyways, oh, just take those off. I feel like a dork now. Yeah, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video on how to chop a Model T sedan. Make sure to check out the website, lgspeedcustom.com, to get hot rod shirts, hot rod stickers, hot rod parts, all that stuff. Thanks to the Cavalleros for providing music once again. Go check out thecavalleros.com, and we'll see you later. Thanks for watching. Say bye to Jim.
Bye. If you're still watching this video, check this out. This is our next project. 389 Pontiac's coming out. Blowing Arden going in. Thanks for watching.